Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrappers. So today I am back with a 2-page layout using the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Lakeside collection. That is quite the mouthful. I will be getting quite a few photos on these 2 layouts. On page 2, I am going to be using quite a few flip-flaps from close to my heart because I have a ton of fishing photos, and quite honestly, I just wanted to kind of move on from the fishing photos. So this layout here, I am just going to have the 3 photos lined all the way across the page. I got most of the products I'm using from Tuesday morning, spring break time, I think it was, and then wanted a little bit more, and so I ended up buying a few more things, I believe, from a cherry on top. So I think I got this collection kit from Tuesday morning, and a couple of other things. I think the ephemera as well. So I am just kind of looking. I kind of wanted that middle photo to stand out a little bit, and so I trimmed it down, backed it in white, and then I wanted to back it again just to have it stand out a little bit more. When we go to Alabama to visit my in-laws, my oldest is quite the little fisherman. They go out nearly every morning, and he, with help from his pop, outfishes everybody. But now that he is a little bit older, I think he kind of doesn't need as much help. So I don't doubt that the fish he is holding in that middle photo is one that he caught himself. It is quite heavy. I think he looks kind of like he's struggling to hold it up, but I have a feeling he caught that one himself. So Simple Stories is having some of these kind of larger sticker pieces, and I really wanted them. I like the way that they look. However, I didn't realize when I bought it that the middles of some of them are empty. So you can kind of see here that there's a couple that are empty, 1, 2, 3 maybe, that are empty. So I am actually going to turn one of them into a shaker pocket. I happen to have some sequins that matched pretty well with the colors of this collection. So I am using my very thin foam tape first and kind of making a barrier all the way around the square or the rectangle. One thing with making shaker pockets, you want to make sure that there is not even a small opening, that, the foam tape is pretty solid around there. Otherwise, the sequins will start to kind of escape. So once I do that, I realized I needed to put the acetate, directly on there. So I did have to cut a little piece of acetate and then add the foam tape. I then add the sequins in there and then back it with a piece of paper. I think this one, I don't know. Sometimes I'll do a pattern paper behind it, a solid different color, or a kind of just the white. And I think I just did the white on this one. And then I did end up having to figure out what to do with the other 2 open holes of this larger sticker here, but was excited to end up doing a shaker with this layout. It was a little tricky because the sticker is so large and still sticky. I had to be careful, kind of playing around with it to make sure I had it where I wanted it, I guess. So one of the ways, moving on to the photos, that I kind of make a photo pop more than the others is kind of back it more times than the other photos, I guess, and pop it up on foam tape. It just kind of brings your eye to that photo. Not saying the other 2 aren't important, but there is, sometimes you just want your eye to go to a certain photo. And so that's why I chose that middle one. I loved this fish paper in the collection and knew I didn't want kind of to go crazy with it because the sticker is a little, busy maybe. And so I just added a strip towards the top there, and then decided to kind of move back to this bigger sticker, and I decided to back one of them with a patterned paper. So that is what I ended up doing. I realized because I had added the foam tape on the other end with the shaker pocket, I needed to kind of add it across the sticker so that it popped up a little bit as well. So it was kind of even across the page. So I did back that with the plaid paper there, and then only had the one kind of open square left. And so I ended up adding a saying that said "Big Fish Stories," I think. Sorry. That's what it says. I just couldn't read it for a second. So that is pretty much the base of that photo or that page. I am going to come back and add another smaller cluster. I kind of had page 2 planned out already because I knew I wanted to include all of these photos here. I kind of had to figure out how many flip-flaps and whatnot that I needed. The nice thing about flip-flaps, so with a flip-flap, if you're new to them, they are a plastic, I don't know, like a page protector, but different sizes. So I'm just going to be using the 4x6 sizes. And then either you can kind of use them for extra pictures. Sometimes I will do my journaling on them. But then it also allows you, so I have 2 photos in each of the flip-flaps, but then I also have the space behind the flip-flap that I can either add a photo, add my journaling, add embellishments, and I think I will do a little of each on this second layout. So the top right photo is the only one that will be directly on the page. The rest of them are going to have flip-flaps. And then the bottom left, I had an open space underneath that flip-flap, and so I am going to be using a journaling card. So a cut apart from the collection, another just great way to include kind of the cut aparts, because I don't include them a lot. I usually will use the paper on the other side, but don't really use the cut aparts very often. But with this layout, it allowed me to. Page 2, I struggle with a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I know kind of that I wanted the grid look, so to speak, and so I am going to kind of commit to the placement of the pieces that are going right on the layout. So for the bottom right, I have a photo that is going to fill in that space, and then two photos in the flip-flap. The top right, the photo is directly on the page. And then the top left, I am going to actually just add some embellishments underneath of that. So it's kind of fun just to kind of have secret embellishments underneath. A good way, again, if you have a lot of a collection, to use up some of the pieces. But here's kind of where I struggle. I don't know, there's so many photos and not a lot of other things going on with this layout. So I did decide to bring some of that plaid paper over, but because I had already committed to the pieces right on the paper, I kind of had to sneak them behind and line that strip up so it looks like it's going behind that photo. I then had this branding strip at the top and figured it was long enough because of the photo on the page that I could make that look like it goes all the way across the page as well. Just another, I don't know, way. I wanted something else up there, but not a lot. So that was thin enough and just worked for what I kind of wanted. So I have this ephemera pack here that I am kind of playing with. One thing I do a lot recently is I will go through the ephemera pack and kind of place the pieces where I think I'm going to want them while I'm going through them. You can kind of see I'm separating them Kind of have a couple of different options here, and I decided that I liked this option with the boat. They are out on the boat with these photos. Most of the photos on page 2, they're in the boat, because the one on top of that cluster, they're on the dock, but it works still. And then there was a tag, and I think it was home away from home. So I decided to add that to the middle here. Just to fill in that open space there. And so that is kind of going to be the main embellishing for page 2. I do decide to go to the sticker sheet and embellish right on top of the flip flap. So that's kind of fun too, that you can add to the flip flaps. Add some embellishing. I didn't go crazy because you want them to close and not be too bulky. But I did add a few stickers there, and then I believe I'm going to add some to the top right photo as well. So I guess I kind of wish I would have backed maybe the top right photo on page 2. However, the 3 other ones don't have any backing because they're right in the flip flaps. So maybe it would have stood out a little bit or just looked silly. I don't know, but I don't know. Page 2 is not my favorite. I do really like the way that page 1 came together. I do add a cluster to the top left just to kind of add some more. I thought the top needed just a little bit extra, but then I also added a little duck sticker to the shaker pocket and just added some more kind of stickers and embellishments all across kind of that bottom larger sticker element. So once I do that, I don't know, like I said, I kind of struggled at the end to try to figure out how to finish off the layout. I did remember then that I do have some flares from Scrap and Happy Studio that are about fishing. So that is when I decided to add that little cluster to the top right photo. And I do think that helps a little bit. You don't need all that water up at the top. So I did cover a little bit up with just a small embellishment cluster. But that is going to finish off this layout. I will link the collection if I can find it at A Cherry on Top. If they still have it, I will link it down below if you are interested. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.